Every spring, they came to my small tax office in Berea, Ohio, carrying manila folders stuffed with W-2s and receipts. Working families, retirees, and small business owners made their pilgrimage to fulfill their government's requirement to report their income and fund the workings of society. For 20 years, I chatted with clients and learned the truths hidden in the numbers on their documents. Their smiles and friendly conversation often overlaid a feeling of discontent. Many felt like they were running in place despite working harder. Those at the bottom were falling further behind. The world felt more divided. We were working against each other instead of together. We had lost the shared sense of community their parents had known. Nearly all of them agreed we were heading in the wrong direction. They could feel it, the subtle shift beneath their feet. I heard it in their stories. The nurse who worked at a premier cancer hospital, yet was going bankrupt from her own medical bills. The husband working 3 jobs who felt embarrassed about needing the food pantry to help feed his 3 kids. Tax return after tax return, story after story. I was piecing together the real picture of what was happening to working Americans. While calculating their returns, I could see the entire picture. Yes, their federal income taxes had dropped, but their property taxes had climbed. Their payroll taxes had grown. Sales taxes, gas taxes, fees, hidden costs buried in every bill. Together, they erased those celebrated income tax cuts. For every dollar these families saved in federal income taxes, they were paying $2 more in other taxes placed on them. The middle-class tax relief they'd been promised was a mirage. And while I calculated what working families owed, I knew that somewhere else, in gleaming offices staffed with teams of accountants and tax attorneys, an entirely different game was being played. The ultra-wealthy were deploying sophisticated strategies year after year to reduce their total tax burden on a massive scale. At the bottom, families arrived exhausted from working multiple jobs that still didn't cover basic needs. They faced impossible choices, medicine or groceries, car repairs or rent, and carried the weight of a system designed to keep them struggling. Every minor emergency became a financial crisis. In the middle, my clients felt something slipping away that was harder to quantify than dollars and cents. The community connections their parents had taken for granted were fraying. Neighborhoods felt more transient. Civic institutions felt weaker. Social bonds more brittle. Many earned more than their parents had, yet felt less secure, less rooted, and less able to count on others. At the top, the upper-middle-class professionals and some small business owners, the economic pressures were manageable, but the political divisions felt toxic. They could afford to insulate themselves from the worst of the chaos, writing checks to favored charities and retreating into social circles that shared their values. Many understood the economic dynamics better than most, yet felt powerless to change anything. They could see the system was broken, but it wasn't breaking them personally. So they adapted by pulling away from the larger community. All of them, regardless of income level, shared the same underlying sense. We are moving in the wrong direction, and there is nothing we can do to stop it. This is the story of how a 1971 memo by Supreme Court Justice Lewis Powell launched a 40-year campaign that divided Americans into warring camps. It destroyed communities and stripped working people of their economic leverage. 46 years into this project, $21 trillion has moved from the pockets of the working class into the bank accounts of the richest 34,000 Americans. Money that could have been invested in our communities or schools. Money that could have given us more time off and better lives. This story shows how politicians from both parties sold us a lie, that tax cuts for the wealthy would lift everyone up. To carry out that project, they demonized working families and the poor as the source of our problems. They built a system where Sarah, a server working double shifts who started her own cleaning business called Midnight Cleaners, watches over half of her $14,000 income disappear to taxes of every kind, while billionaires pay pennies on the dollar. We created an America where those at the bottom fall further behind despite working harder. Those in the middle run in place despite following all the rules, and those at the top disconnect entirely, writing checks to charity while retreating into isolated communities that insulate them from the consequences of the system they benefit from. The question is whether we have the courage to act on what we know. The personal stories included in this book have been altered to protect the privacy and identities of my clients.